damn it. I thought we were going to get Kenta's Judgment Day. I thought we were going to get that in this episode. No, we're going to wait till next episode. We're going to leave it off till then, which honestly, I think we probably need an entire episode to that whole meeting. I don't want them to rush it in like 5 minutes. Let's get it done really quickly. Oh, this is how it turned out. If it even happens at this point, Kenta, that wasn't really a good way to separate with Saku. Now, I do think he's going to have a moment of clarity. He's going to go home. He's probably going to realize that what Yuko said there was true. That, yes, he's been helping me out this entire time. I trusted him. And it's my own insecurities that blew up in my face. Literally what Saku told me before about teasing and bullying, that separation there, I didn't follow it. I think what Yuko said pretty much opened his eyes. And he probably ran away in embarrassment. Yeah, you're technically right. Especially having Saku bow in front of him and apologize. That was embarrassment. He ran away. I love how Saki kind of ran out there and said, hey, dude, good luck, dude. Good luck tomorrow. You got it. I do love at some point in this episode, Kenta said sort of what I was imagining was going to happen, that in this experience of bettering himself, eventually Kenta will sort of realize that it's not so much about revenge. I just want to show him I changed. This entire time, I wanted to shove it in their face about what they lost, what she specifically lost, what they screwed up, how I'm better than them and I'm something to behold. No, at some point it became, I just want to go and show them I'm better. Show them that I've changed. Show them that there's something different about me. It's different now. I think that's a great thing. Getting away from that ideal of wanting revenge, because honestly, in the end, that can easily blow up in his face. If he goes in that room and goes, look what you lost, and they go, what did we lose? I'm so much better now. What the hell is this dude? It's going to blow up in his face. Because people, when presented with what you lost out on, is going to quickly downplay what they lost. Well, I lost it, but I don't really care about it. And that could be really bad for Kenta because, again, he's building up this idea of flaunting that in their face. And if they don't care about it, what was it all for? And in the end, even if they did go, oh my gosh, we missed out on how great Kenta is, what after that? He goes home and yay, what next? This betterment is for his future. This betterment is for bettering himself into something that he wants to become. That's the important thing in the end. But anyways, episode 3 of Chitose and the Ramune bottle. Overall, decent episode. I think the more focus of this episode didn't really turn out to be what I thought it was going to be. It ended up being Saku and sort of his insecurities and being hero, which I think is interesting because up until now, I've gotten the painted picture that Saku himself has saved all these individuals in his group, and thus he's used to this. He's used to being faced with a challenge with somebody having a problem, him fixing that problem, and then being seen as a hero, and they all love him. Here, it's really kind of having him have his own insecurities as to if it's going to work out, which makes me kind of believe that, and with every case before this, there wasn't as much stakes in it. And why I say that is not that, whatever Yuko went through was not a problem, or whatever Haru went through wasn't, difficult. It's more so in the idea that he sees that Kenta, if it doesn't work out for Kenta, if he returns from his battle against his friends or his past friends and he's wounded beyond repair, that's not good. What if I can't help him if he falls again? That's going to be horrible. Like, what would Kenta do after this whole thing? This was his second chance. His second chance to get some sort of redemption. If he fails, could he even, walk again? Before, he would just huddle up in his room. He was still alive, though. What could happen if he comes back wounded this time? Would he be able to stand ever again? And that's something that's, again, in this episode, seemingly to be on Saku's mind as he goes to each individual and kind of sees how they respond to it, which I think there's some good little answers here. So let's get into it. Opening up the episode, we have the makeover for Kenta. He's lost a crap ton of weight in 1 week. I wish. The biggest change that I ever had in my life was quitting sodas. And I lost 100 pounds really quickly, but it wasn't within a week. It's kind of like that whole situation with Kiss Him Not Me, I believe that show was called, where the girl huddled up in a room and lost a crap ton of weight. It's that is not how that works. And no flab, it just disappears. Anyways, yeah, he's got a nice little makeover here. And they decide to go over to the cafe where apparently they're going to have the meetup in 2 weeks. He gets to see for himself how much he's changed. Getting that little photo taken of him was really cool. But I thought Saku right here was going to crack a joke at him because Kenta says that he doesn't want to fail because he doesn't want all the effort they all put into him go to waste. Because you're my friends. And I thought that Saku was going to fire back and say, whoa, boy, we're not friends. I'm just helping you out here. Remember that. It was good. But it's an important thought here that Saku has, the idea that people don't just change because they decide to. It's because they take pride in what they're doing. They have to walk forward. They have to take that step, move forward, and build, I think, in a lot of cases, a routine. Again, similar to earlier, the idea of losing weight. You can, get surgery to remove all that weight, but if you don't change the way you're doing things, you're just gonna go right back. That's when we get a run-in with the nasties of the classroom. Yes, Atamu and his little crowd going after Kenta. Now this is interesting because this was a group that I thought was initially hated Saku. They made comments in the past when Saku was in the front of the classroom doing his little act. They were making comments about cringe and whatnot. I assumed this group hated Saku. They were jealous of Saku, didn't like his popularity. And this is the group that I was talking about when Kenta first joined Saku and his group that was potentially going to be a danger for Kenta. And I thought that at some point they were going to get into Saku saying, hey, Kenta, you can't join my group because you can't take the heat. Because everybody hates my popularity, you won't be able to stand it. So no, I won't be your friend. You're not strong enough. The people around me, Yua, Yuka, Haru, all them, they're used to it. They can take it because we have a strong bond. Kenta, no. He's not going to be able to take it. A little bit different. It was a little bit different than my impressions here. Atamu, I'm getting the impression this guy respects Saku and doesn't like the idea of Saku being around people that are below him. It makes him angry. Even at the end of this whole scene, he says, I can't tell if he's a nice guy or just plain nasty. This guy's upset that Kenta, who is below Saku, is hanging out with Saku. That's what he doesn't like. He's not saying he hates Saku. He doesn't like people that don't deserve to be around him being around him. He's jealous. I think there's a side of here that Atamu wants Saku to be at his side, not these other individuals. They're below him. They even said at some point, hang out with us rather than these people. Don't hang out with them, hang out with us. So that was a little bit of a shocker there. And I do get that because it does mention at some point when Saku's like, and you are? What are you talking about? Screw you. We faced off against in the finals. This is a guy that's a rival to him. He doesn't want Saku to be down here. And this is something that's very often portrayed in sports shows. I'm assuming it's probably something very prevalent in Japanese sports. You're not angry at them winning against you. You tell them, okay, go beat the next person. Otherwise, if you lose to them, it means that we're below them as well. There's sort of a passing of baton to the person that wins. That respect there and that desire for them to succeed is important. So if he faced off against Saku and lost against Saku, Saku needs to achieve again. That's why when Saku does question him and he brings that up, what does he say? I can't believe you joined this weak school and dropped out of baseball. He's upset that this person who beat him is now below him in a sense. That's interesting. That's very interesting. But anyways, to what's actually happening in the scene, kind of sidetracked here. Yes, with that all in mind, Atamu doesn't like Kenta. Doesn't like this guy being around his Saku. You don't deserve to be next to him. What are you doing? You're leeching off of him. Why are you at his side? Oh, you like Yua and you're using Saku to get to her. No, he doesn't like this. Doesn't like this at all. But yeah, Saku comes in, tries to defuse the situation. It's like Kazuki's all sitting there trying to flirt with the girl in the group just to kind of throw them off a little bit. It was interesting. Yeah, and then Nanase making her little joke as well, how her feminine charms are being ruined by the fact that she's going to sports. I wasn't talking about you, Nanase. The girl's like, no, you could join too, Nanase. Come here, join our group. It's like they're trying to get them to join them. Again, it's not that they hate them, it's they don't want this other group there. They want Saku, which is interesting. Again, completely against what I originally thought. Poor little Yua, though. My poor little Yua, in there having to handle the situation by herself. I'm like, Saku, get in there quick, dude. Poor girl. But it was a good little moment, I think, for Kenta, because he sort of has to be put out alone to kind of test his resolve. This is your one moment to kind of stand on your own. Again, I think it's a good sign to him that what Saku goes through, really, is what Saku goes through. There was one other comment that was made during this exchange. Kazuki spoke up, and Otomo said, I despise kids like you who never experience failure. Kind of implies the idea that he assumes that Kazuki hasn't had any sort of issues in the past. Which again, I'm assuming everybody in Saku's group has been helped by Saku in some way, but he could possibly not have. He could be somebody that, at least from everybody's perspective, has never had some sort of stumbling point that Saku has had to help him with. But yeah, Tomu parts ways by saying, don't waste Chitose's time with your stupid games. Really kind of hits him tough in the stomach. Kenta right here mentioned the fact that this is the people that he was talking about, the popular people that put us down. How do I handle it? And Saku, I think rightfully so, saying that you just don't engage with it. Whatever they're saying, it doesn't really matter as long as you hold your head up. Focus on that. Don't let it bother you. They're just words, basically, in the end. It's going to hurt no matter what they do, but Kenta has to learn to, basically soak it up and move forward. The more that he lets it get to him, there is an element here where the bully will sort of feed off that. Oh, you reacted. Keep going. And yes, there's some cases where you try to ignore it and they just go in harder because they want that reaction. But what can you do in that situation? But, like I said at the very beginning of this video, this is where it starts. Because right here, Kenta has faced his first issue, that is now playing into Saku. Saku now starts to think about the fact that, what if I fail? What if I send him off to this battle and he comes back with wounds that he can't recover from? If he goes out there and seeks out his revenge, what if they laugh in his face? He's going to come back to me and he's going to be wounded in a way that I can't help him back on his feet. He's going out for that final battle, really. So Haru, noticing this, decides to drag him over, do some stretches. Girl got some nice bend to her. Got, of course, have the little bra strap seeping through that really thin coat. But yeah, her wanting to know what's going on with them. A very quick kind of question mark about why he quit baseball, which he completely deflects and get away from. I'm assuming at this point we're not going to get into that quite yet. That's probably going to be some sort of deep-rooted story that we'll maybe potentially get at the end of the season. It seems like something really bad happened with the whole baseball incident. There's some signs of it in the OP, or is it the ED? One of the theme songs has a lot of alluding to something there, and I'm assuming that's probably going to be his starting point to sort of walking away from baseball and using his abilities with people in order to improve them. But no, they have a little basketball game with a little bet to it to answer a question, which she asks him what's going on. And yes, he brings up the fact that he's thinking about what'll happen if things don't go well for Kenta. And I love Haru's answer. These girls are smart. The people that Saku has surrounded himself with, I really do feel like are really strong pillars for him. And this is something I was talking about with my first episode impression. I didn't understand why somebody who was given so much air of being the hero was relying on literally everybody to do everything for him. And I guess it does come down to the idea of using the tools that are around you. But at the same time, I didn't get a sense from him personally what he had done to acquire those tools. That was the key thing there. If he's this hero that saved everybody, you assume that he probably went to a lot of these people by himself. It doesn't seem like he's that resourceful. And it's, again, he was making a lot of mistakes, I feel like, in that first episode. It was really him just busting through a window that it forced Kenta to have to respond to him. But anyways, going back, I love her response here. He came to you for help. If it doesn't work, the burden falls on his shoulders. He came to you, you gave him a handout. If he can't utilize that well, that's his own damn fault. By worrying about this, you're making a mockery of his resolve. You've been crediting him for standing up by himself and saying you took the first step. You're doing good. You're doing good. If you turn around and say, I don't think you can make it, you're mocking his resolve. True. The coach's job is to teach what they can and then let the players go. If they have problems or some sort of trouble, then you can help them out here and there. But her final statement here is interesting. You act like you have it all together, but you're better off running around with a baseball. It's like, stop being hero. I think that was just a jab. That's got to be a jab, or maybe I misread it. I was like, what? With her saying, I like you better that way, I guess there is a sense here where she likes him having flaws. The idea that he doesn't have it all together. The fact that he is sort of doubting himself right here makes him human. I like it that way. And I guess it technically does play into the next part where, he does that second challenge of seeing who can jump the farthest. He says, Venus is already in the sky as the evening star. I wish I could fly all the way there. That way I don't have to lean on this kind girl. And I could stand tall on my own 2 feet. I guess there could be an idea here is because he's showing so much of his own flaws, he feels like I'm not quite ready yet. I'm not the hero that I'm trying to be. Again, this whole idea is him trying to do things because he's Saku Chitose, the hero. But throughout this entire episode, he's constantly downplaying the idea of achieving that goal, reaching that point that he's always talking about up in the sky, putting himself in that bottle, and yes, being a hero. He's not that. He's seeing that he is flawed in that regard. Anyways, that's when we have the conversation with Yuzuki. Stupid little role play they have at the very beginning there. I feel like I've been given 3 seconds to unhook a bra. Foolish. The hook could be in the front too. I like how later on he even asks her, so where's yours at? It's in the back and it's blue like this guy. I'm not gonna be able to sleep it all night. Not really too much from this conversation beside her trying to prod information from him as to why he's helping out Kenta, but additionally her kind of showing a little jealousy in the idea that he didn't come to her. Her wanting to have him owe her in some way. He's like, I will never turn down a woman. Okay, then become my boyfriend. Just kidding. A little bold there. But yeah, then we cut to the third week. And yes, we're at the point now where he's all toned down. He's looking good. He's got a little bit of muscle and everything. And that, yeah, the next day he's going to have his battle. But again, I love this because it's the point where he finally realizes, I don't really care so much about sticking it to them anymore. I just want them to see that I changed. I want them to think that I changed, which is great. Again, this is a good change for him. He's showing not only is he changing in regards to his appearance, but he's also maturing away from what he originally had, which is just bitter. He was just bitter and angry. He no longer has that, which again, I think is very important. Because if that, whether it fails or is successful, there's the, but then what? And if he can now seriously say, I just want them to think I changed, that's simply saying, then I'll move on. That's all I want. It's cool. But no, then they have a little soccer match, which I'm kind of curious if the soccer match was a part of this whole thing. Because yes, as afterwards, it does look like Saku purposely set something up to have a fallout with Kenta. That possibly Saku went to Atamu and worked something out with him. I'm curious. It was a good little match there, though, because again, it was a lot of Saku sort of presenting his mindset when it comes to the game. There's no fun in winning the game if you just focus on the key players. I want to get everybody involved. It's more fun that way. Get Kenta involved. He's weak, he's clumsy or whatever, he's not good with the ball, but get him involved because it's more fun that way. It'd be way too easy if it was just me and Kazuki and we just hogged the ball and just won the game. It's cool, but yeah, unfortunately Kenta sucks at it. But no, it was very interesting at the end though, because again, it's a dare, and so Saku and all of them decide to, do the little bunny hop things as a gorilla, and Kenta turns his back on them. Now, he's angry right here because he feels like Saku hogged all the glory in the end, which is stupid. It was obviously him being frustrated. And again, similar to what Kazuki said, Kenta right here is playing exactly into what Kazuki said. He's somebody that will make excuses for his own failures. He will blame Saku because he hogged the ball. He will blame Kazuki because he hogged the ball. He will blame Kaito because he hogged the ball. Not because I sucked at kicking the ball, and not because I was looking away when Saku wanted to pass it to me. It's their fault. He's playing exactly into it. It's crazy. But yeah, I think Kenta did play into exactly what Atamu thought. Right there, Atamu walked to him, and I think he probably told him, look at you. You want to stand by him, but you won't go over there and be humiliated with him. That says a lot about you, doesn't it? That says a lot about you. And I understand Kenta to an extent. He didn't agree to this. And right here, this is something that he can't take. Saku's used to it. He's not. It's hard for him. But yeah, then we have the little staged event. I kind of assumed it was going to be staged. I didn't think Saku was that stupid. Going over there, Yuko pointing out how funny they looked and how they failed. Oh yeah, that was just Kenta's fault. Yeah, Kenta sucked at that. He was terrible. He kept trying. And yeah, sure enough, Kenta gets mad. Oh no, I was teasing you. I would say the same thing to your face. This is exactly how we are. We always like to tease each other. It's exactly what he was talking about in the classroom when they first came back to school. What'd he say? You gotta know the difference between teasing and bullying. And if it's bullying, I'll be at your side. Here, this is teasing. And he's not taking it. And I think Saku himself knew that was going to work that way. He probably knew that Kenta wasn't going to be able to accept that as teasing. That no matter how strong it seems like he's gotten at this point, he's not quite that ready. To have somebody say something like that in a moment where they're feeling their worst. He doesn't like what happened at PE. He was obviously upset. And typically, even if you're close friends, you say something like that after somebody's extremely upset, they're going to blow up. And again, I do like the fact that Yuko comes up there and says that, which I think does make Kenta realize, and again, Saku apologizing, makes Kenta realize, yeah, I didn't put enough trust into Saku. That really was technically a tease. I think he was embarrassed as he left. I really do think it was an embarrassment. But yeah, I'll be curious if they end up getting into what Atamu actually said. And again, I kind of wonder if Saku told Atamu to tell him something. Again, because I kind of wonder if the soccer game was staged as well. Or at least part of it, the whole dare and everything. But yeah, then we have the final scene with Yuko asking if that's how he wanted to end it. And he says, yep, I only agreed to 3 weeks tops. So he hopes it goes well for him. Interesting to have right here, Yuko does point out that she wouldn't have helped him if it weren't for the fact that Saku was doing this. That his willingness to see that Kenta can change is sort of what makes him a hero. But again, Saku right here says, I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero. You're putting me on a pedestal, which again is so funny in contrast to what I sort of felt like they were portraying him as with everybody's sort of statements about him. Throughout the first 2 episodes, it really felt like everybody kept calling him a hero. And right here, he's having that doubt. It's interesting. But yeah, she said that she has good eyes for people because she has a lot of eyes on her, and so he can trust her. So I'll trust you then. And that's pretty much the episode. Really good episode. Really interesting to kind of see how this played out. And again, I'm really, really interested to see how things go with Kenta, which I'm hoping and assuming will probably be the next episode, which I do think it'll probably turn into an idea where he will probably have a lot of anxiety going in there, and they potentially could just want to talk about anime or something like that, or geek out on otaku stuff, and maybe see that he's changed a little bit. But again, I don't think he's going to get what he wants. And I think that's going to be the growing point for Kenta, is realizing that when he gets in there and he talks to his past friends, when he goes back to talk to them to get his little bit of payback, it's not going to be fulfilling. I think in the end, it's not going to be fulfilling. And hopefully Saku may be possibly there to kind of catch him when he has a little bit of a stumble there. But I think it could possibly turn into, in the end, him going, you know what, look, it's cool. Move on with my life. And I do believe in the end, Kenta's probably not going to want to be at Saku's side. And I think it's mostly around the idea of him just wanting to walk on his own. And additionally, realizing that he's not strong enough to be at Saku's side, because it is kind of heavy. What Saku goes through is heavy. I think Kenta has come to realization what Saku goes through. Anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 3 of Chitose-kun no Ramune. Hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, these long videos of me yapping. But it's always fun kind of deep diving the mentality of these characters. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content, you want to support more, become a member of the channel. Until next time, you'll take care.